So welcome everybody to our July Power Platform UX UI Allies Accessibility User Group call. I'm glad to have you all here today. It has been 1 year, exactly, because we do this on the 11th of every month. So 1 year since our first user group call. Can you believe it? So, all right. We are a Microsoft-sponsored event, so we follow the Microsoft Event Code of Conduct. That is, if you see any violations of this, you can get in contact with Anya, Charlie, myself, or you can contact Microsoft, and it can be handled at that point to make sure that we're using or having an inclusive environment, respectful of everyone. So in our meeting today, we're asked that you be welcoming, respectful, and considerate of others and their viewpoints. Respect others' opinions. We're allowed to have our difference of opinions because we are 8 billion different stories and we all have 8 billion different colored rose-colored glasses. So everybody has an opinion based on their own personal histories, and let's, be respectful of that. So make sure to ask questions, jump in the chat. We usually have a lively chat going alongside the presenters. But, presenters like to hear about the good things, even when they're presenting. So make sure to drop some love in the chat. Use your reactions to let them know how that's going. And, let us know any other tools or resources that you want to know more about in future calls. So we are recording the call today. So if you do not wish to be recorded, we ask that you leave the call and come back to it when we upload it on YouTube later this week, next week, 24 hours, something like that. So if you don't wish to be recorded, we ask that you drop from the call. But we are a community user group. We are virtual, so feel free to come on camera and let us record your reactions to the awesome things that our presenters are giving today. But we do ask that you remain muted so that we don't interrupt our presenters. So if you have a question, raise your hand. And as we have the time to do this, then we will also say, go ahead, please speak, because we're that awesome. But yes, your reactions, make sure that your presenters know how much you love what's going on here today, because they worked really hard to bring this content to you. So we've got a call for speakers open. Use this Sessionize link down here or the QR code to drop into Sessionize and give us a quick little, hey, I want to present this 15-minute topic or this 30-minute topic in an upcoming call. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular, mind-blowing, earth-shattering, or what have you. It could be just something simple that you found last week that has changed your perspective on the way UX, UI, and accessibility works within the Power Platform. And when we say Power Platform, we mean the Power Platform. Everything from apps, Automate, Copilot Studio, Power BI, because I still include it and they drag me to my deathbed on that one. It is a hill I'm willing to die on. And what else do we have out there? Is there anything else? Dataverse? Throw it out there. Teams, SharePoint. I ain't got anything against them. UX, UI, and accessibility all applies when you're using the Power Platform and including it with the M365 environments. So that being said, we would love to have you present. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, grand, over the top. If you do not feel comfortable presenting on your own, we are more than happy to work with you and present with you, give you some guidance and build up and whatnot. So you're not going to do this on your own. Presentations today. The thing that you all have arrived here for. We've got Samir and Lukas to give us some really awesome stuff. So first up, we're gonna go here with Samir. If you wouldn't mind taking over and showing us the awesome stuff you brought for us today.
Thank you so much, Kat. Right. So do we have 30 minutes for this? Roughly.
Try to stick to like 20 and 25 minutes. Like, do you want questions or not?
Of course, yeah. Sure. So let me share my screen. Hi, everyone. My name is Samir Daoudi, and today we'll be talking about how you can improve and advance your Power Apps Canvas applications using component and component library. Microsoft MVP just got the renewal email yesterday. So second time, Power Apps. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. I've been working with Microsoft technology since I remember, forever, to I think 15 years. I started my career with .NET, moved quickly to SharePoint. I've worked with pretty much all versions of SharePoint since WSL 3. And when Power Apps was introduced around the end of 2016, I got interested and started building business applications and all sorts of approval process and bespoke applications on the Power Platform. I try to blog on a regular basis. It's not easy with personal life going on, but hey, you can reach me on LinkedIn or follow my blog. So the agenda for today, we're going to talk a little bit about the design principles when building apps. These design principles apply to not just Power Apps. These are generic design principles, whether you are building web applications, Power Apps, WinForm applications. And then we're going to talk why do we need to care about Power Apps components, what's the benefit of using components. And we'll jump straight on the first demo where we're going to look at 2 or 3 custom components that you're going to be building. There will be no PCF, no code. We'll reuse the existing Power Apps controls and components to build new components. And then we're going to look at how we can reuse those components. Once we have built something that we like, we're happy with that, how we can share that across apps or with other developers within the organization. There are different ways of sharing or reusing components. We're going to look at both approaches and discuss pros and cons of each one of them. And we'll do another demo where I show you how we can use each one of those approaches. So design principle. It's very challenging when we are talking about UI UX because the main thing is that there is no right or wrong when we talk about UX. So no one's going to say your user interface is wrong. There is no such thing. There are a couple of things that we need to bear in mind. So try to have your design or UI UX clear and simple. So navigation, very simple and clear way of navigating between screens. Try to have consistency when you go from one screen to the other. Try to use the same font, same navigation, so it doesn't look like completely different. Visual hierarchy. So if you're going from one page to sub-page, it would be good to have some sort of breadcrumb or some way of presenting where you are in your app. Obviously, accessibility and inclusivity is very big thing. In Power Apps, Canvas app, you can check whether the choice of colors and fonts and everything in your app is accessible. There are third-party tools that you can also use to check your apps. And because there is no right or wrong when you talk about user interface and user experience, try to have regular feedback and gather the end user's impression of your design. Maybe they want to change the flow in the app, maybe accessing some information with less clicks. So yeah, it would be good to gather feedback on a regular basis. Now, it's not just about the visual aspect or whether your app is nice or not. The choice of certain elements in the user interface may or will have an impact on the performance of the app. So bear that in mind. It's not just for nice and shiny apps, but yeah, it can impact your app. User research, that ties back to the feedback and trying to have different approaches, maybe different wireframes at the beginning when you are building your POCs and gather feedback at that stage. When we talk about apps, I'm tempted to say that Power Apps are responsive by design, but there is some work that needs to be done. Even if you are not asked to build something for multiple devices, it would be good to take the extra step and built on the assumption that users may ask at some point that this runs on mobile or tablet. So yeah, use containers, use a couple of existing Power Apps controls. It's not that difficult to implement, but keep that in mind. Brand consistency, this aligns to your organization brand and color themes, these kind of things. So try to keep them consistent across all the screens. And again, continuous improvement. Not just improving the app functionalities, but when you introduce new features, maybe you need to revisit the design, the user interface. So these are 10 design principles. As I said, they apply to not just Power Apps, but also web applications or any sort of software, regardless of the platform. Now, what are Power Apps components? These are reusable building blocks. So you can look at them as black box You can pass some parameters, some inputs to the component. The component can be used for visual aspect in your app. So the component can display certain things, or it can be used only for actions. So you can have a component for resetting certain controls or things like that. But basically, these are building blocks. You pass certain parameters, inputs to the building block optionally, and you may also have something at the end, so some output of from those components. They can bundle, as I said, functionality and styling. We're going to look at both scenarios. So why do you need to consider using components, even when, in most cases, when you start working on a specific Power App, the ask is simple. Usually you start with simple requirement. Can I have an app which does X, Y, Z? Most of the time, if not every time, when the user gets their hands on the app, they will ask for more and more and more. So you may think that creating components at the beginning is just an overkill, or maybe you're doing something extra. I know that my app is going to have 2 or 3 screens. Why do I bother with having a navigation component? But no, down the line, you're going to thank yourself if you took the extra 20, 30 minutes to build the component for that, because most of the time, the ask is going to increase over time. And it allows you to build faster, even though at the beginning it may be slow, but over time you can build screens quicker and faster, and you have some sort of consistency across all your screens and your overall app look and feel. Right, very short introduction. I don't like slides a lot, so let's jump to the demo. Right. Okay, here I'm in my dev environment. I prepared a solution for this demo. So the first demo is gonna be, let's say we have a new idea. We are supposed to create a new app, and we look at a few components. So in terms of the components we're gonna look at today, we create an accordion. Accordion is a collapsible container which people can click on, display more information or close. Accordion or collapsible panel, as you want. Gradient button is just a button with an icon and having gradient background underneath. And then we're going to have a KPI card. So an icon, number, and some text underneath. So let's have a look at the first app. All right. So we have a very simple app with navigation, with a header, navigation container, and some cards here, just a simple chart, and an accordion component. So this is what I was referring to initially. Accordion is something you can open or close. So these things, so if we talk about this component, the card component, or the accordion component, or even the button with the gradient background, these have been created as component. So to create component, you go to your app, next to the screens tab, you have another tab for component, and this is where you create your new component. I'm not going to do that from scratch because we don't have enough time for that, but I'm going to take you through how these have been created. So let's look at the card, for example. So component card, as you can see, if I open that, don't comment on the naming convention. I'm not following that. It was very quick demo that I had to put in place. Anyway, so we have a container which has 2 labels and an image, right? And we have some parameters that we are passing to our component. To pass parameter or get information from your component, you can create a new custom property. So when I select a new property, I can give my variable or my parameter a name. So let's say var, I don't know, person name, something like that. Is this a data that you are passing or getting from your app, or is it a function, an event which will trigger certain code, or an action that you want your component to perform? So different things. For the sake of today's demo, we're just going to talk about data. The second part is, do you want this to be an input or output parameter? So if you are passing some information to the component to render and display, it's going to be an input parameter. The data type, you have pretty much all data types here. One limitation is that you don't have a collection. You can use table though, so something to bear in mind, but you can pass number, text, Boolean, or an object record. All right, so now in my controls here in the component, so let's say the icon, for example, if I look at the image property, it refers to the component name dot var image. There is a limitation here where you can just refer to the parameter or variable directly. So even though I have something called var image, which I'm passing to my component, I can just say var image. Okay, so I have to always make reference to the component name, which is comcard dot, and then I get IntelliSense with the properties I have set. So where is it? var image. There we go. So I'm passing here the number which will be displayed here, the text, that's kind of the description, the image or the icon, and then the background color. All right. Now, whenever I drop this in my app, I can change the numbers if I want, text, and these are usable blocks, right? You can change the background color. You have a component that you can play with, reuse in your app in different places and have different parameters passed to that. So this component doesn't do anything in terms of actions, it just renders and display certain information. That would be image, text, and the number plus a background. So that's the first one. It's worth mentioning that by default, when you create a component, the component is runs in a sandbox. So it doesn't have access to the app scope. When I say app scope, that's global variables and data sources. So if you want your component to perform some sort of patch or something like that, or maybe update a global variable, you need to allow access to the app scope. So once I do that, now I can refer to global variables, to collections, to data sources, and so on. The next one is the accordion. And again, this one will have, as you can see here, it has a title and a text. So these are the two parameters I'm passing to my my component. Okay. I made sure that this component is responsive. The way we do that is that we always make reference to when it comes to the width and height of the container where I have my my component. It's always parent.width and parent.height. Now, this component has an action where when I click on the title, it allows me to open or close the content here. The way I'm performing that is on this button, and I'm using classic controls, by the way, I have a global variable, var status, which may not be a good idea if you are using this in multiple places, but just for the sake of this demo, I have one instance of this component, so I can do that. What I'm doing with this, every time you click on the button, it flips between true, false, false, true, and so on. And then I'm using that variable to define whether I'm showing the icon up or down for the juggler, and what would be the height of my of the container. So if I look at the icon, I'm saying if var status, or if it's blank, it has not been clicked at all, this is the first time I'm rendering the component, or if it's true, show me the up icon, otherwise down. So these up and down are just images I have in my app, right? And more importantly, the height of this container is driven by the same variable. So if the var status equals true, which is the closed status, the size will be 42. So 42 is just what I need to display the title, right? Otherwise, it will be parent.height, the height of the component, minus self.y times 2. So this bit here is just to make sure that whatever gap I have from the top is also applied to the bottom. So if I decide to have a gap of 40 from the top, the end is going to be also 40. So just to ensure that it's properly centered in my component. Does it make sense so far? I can see the chart, so if you have any questions, just let me know, or we can leave them at the end. Right. We have also a button. Again, same thing. The only thing worth mentioning here is that I'm using HTML control underneath. That's what gives me the gradient background, and I don't have to remember the CSS gradient. There is a nice tool that you can use. There's a website called cssgradient.io, and you can go pick colors from there. You don't have to remember the CSS syntax for that. So you can pick different gradients. Because this is a button, we expect the button to perform different actions every time you click on the button. So the idea is that we have a button on top, transparent button, so it doesn't have any fill color. So it allows the HTML control to be displayed underneath, right? And the action on select of this button is going to be dynamic, and it's going to be passed as a parameter to the component. So I have a property here, on click, it's an event, and this is where I pass whatever code I want the button to execute when I click on the button. right? So the onSelect property of the, let's say, the old button or the out-of-the-box button is going to run the code that I passed to my component. I have a lot of components available in my blog. I've put everything in GitHub, so you can download things like progress bar, tabs, all sort of components. But just to show you what you can do with components, how you can pass them between, pass different parameters to the component. These are three examples. Now, let's say I'm happy with this. This is the first app. In the meantime, there is another project that's kicking off, and they want to reuse some of those components. So we need to reuse these components. I would say there are mainly two ways of doing that. So the classic import component. So you can import from an app in the same environment. So the scope has to be the same environment, unless you export the app from one environment to the other, and then you can import all the components from that app. But basically, you import components from one app to the other, or you can use a component library. These approaches have differences, and we're going to cover pros and cons of each one of them. So import component, same thing. Let's say I go back to my solution. Let me move this one here. I have another blank app here that we start in. There's nothing in this app, literally. So I will try to import the component from the first app. The first app is demo one. Right, blank app, nothing here, no component. So you have an option of importing components. As I said, you can only import from apps within the same environment. So make sure that you have your app there. When I select the first app where I've created the initial component, click import. What will happen is that first, it doesn't ask me which components of this app you want to import. So it's going to bring everything to the second app. And the second issue is that it will create a local copy of those components in my app, and that's a big problem. Now we have two different versions of the same component in two different apps, maybe more. But the process is very simple. So to start a project or maybe to create POCs, or that would be a good approach, but I wouldn't recommend using that for production. So import, you click import, and then you select which app you want to import from, and that's it, import. So it's very, very simple. Pros, as I said, very easy and quick to use. It copies all the components locally to the target app, and it copies also the style, any code in those components, everything will get copied across. Downside, as I said, local copies, and now you have different versions of the same components running in two different places. The second approach is to use the component library. So component library is one central place where you put all your components, and all the apps will link to that component library to take the definition of those components and use the components from the library. So there will be no local copy of your component stored in in each app. It's just a reference to the component library. Now, when I'm saying reference, you get my point. The first issue is that it creates dependency. So let me quickly take you through the pros and cons of using component library. So the pros is that I have one central repository of all my components, and all the apps can connect and use those components from one single place. I can make change in the component library, and those changes will be published and made available. I highlight available and not pushed to the app. And it's also easy to deploy. When we say easy, we have to be careful here because we are creating dependency. So your solution now depends on the component library. I've seen a lot of projects where some developers put the component library inside the same solution, which reference the same component library. Now the deployment or the ALM process, whether you're doing export, import, or using pipeline, Power Platform pipeline, or even Azure DevOps CI/CD, is not smart enough to know that, okay, to deploy the solution, I need to first deploy the component library and then deploy the remaining artifacts. That's not going to be possible. So what you need to do in this case is you need to have one solution for your component library, deploy that first, and then deploy any other apps or solutions that need this library after that. So you're going to have to deploy in two different stages. So it creates dependency on the component library. The downside of using component library, and this is a big thing, is that the scope of the component library is the environment. You can't have apps also other apps in different environment referencing the same component library from, let's say, from the first environment. So the scope of the component library is the environment, and this goes a little bit against the idea of reusing and sharing across different environments. How can you tackle that? You need to copy the component library to the next environment. And to avoid having the same problem as doing the import export of components and having different versions of the component library, I would recommend you need to have one component library as an unmanaged solution in one environment. And if you want to use that component in other component library in other environment, deploy it always as a managed solution, right? And then your apps can reference to that component library. If you made some changes to the original component library, redeploy as managed solution always. The second issue with component library is that when you make changes to your component library, it doesn't force pushing those changes to the apps consuming the component library. The developers will get notification saying, "Hey, this component has been updated," and they have to manually click, say, refresh to the definition, right? And then components have no access to app-wide variables or app scope, right? So it's not like when you create a component locally in your Power App and say, I want to access the app scope. Within the component library, there is no such thing, right? So you have to bear that in mind. Right, okay. Second demo. We've already seen how you can do import between apps, that's fine. So let's create a new solution. Doesn't. I'm going to use a default publisher, which is not good, but so to create component library, you go to your solution, new, and then more component library. the interface looked pretty much the same as if you were working in a Power App Canvas app. So you have screens and you have component. The screens don't mean anything. It's just for you to test the component. So you have here different screens, but they don't matter. Now components, what I will do is I will import the component from the app into the component library, and then I will show you how we can reference the component library in another app. So I will import all the components to the library. Save. We need to publish the library so it becomes available to other apps. It's taking ages. Sorry. Publish the versions. Now, I will go back to the second app where I have already imported the components from the first app. I will delete those components. All right. And now, just to confuse you, for some reason, the components are in one place. The component to add the component library or to look at the components from another library is in different place. So local components, you go to your tree view and look at screens or components. That's where you create or import components. If you want to connect to component library, you go to insert, and then there is get more components icon here, which will scan the current environment and look for different libraries available. So I have the one which I have just created. Now with component library, you can decide to import specific components. You don't have to put everything in your app. So I'm going to say I just need the button. All right. And it will be available to me here. The other good thing about using component library is that whenever I decide to share those components with other developers, they can't amend them. So they don't know how the components have been built, or I don't know if this is a good thing or bad thing, but we are all supposed to collaborate and work in an open environment. But at least nobody can mess or change the logic of this component, right? So I have a component, a button, which I've dropped here. I decide to make that ridiculously big. And let's say a decision has been made to make all the buttons proper square, so they won't be rounded anymore. And the icon is now going to be on the right side instead of being on the left side. So I go back to my library button. I have container here. I'm going to change the radius to 0, and the icon is going to be on the far right. do one. And for my button, it's padding. And let's say we change the branding of the company. Now we go in with this green. Okay. Right. There we go. Now the buttons look like this. Right. So in the component library, I save, publish the changes, and I will show you how that will appear in the consuming apps. Right. I've published my library. Okay. Now the developer has to come to the app here and look for changes. Check for component library, this icon here. So when I click on this one, it tells me, hey, demo library has been updated. There are no details, who made the changes, what the changes are, but I'm going to trust those changes and say, okay, update my component. Now, the button that I previously pulled from the component library displays the new layout, which is square, proper rectangle, sorry, and then the icon is on the left side, on the right side instead of the left. A little bit over time, but that's pretty much it, how you can reuse components, how you can define components and then reuse them using import, export, or using a component library. Any questions?
There was one in the chat for you.
Okay.
But I think Charlie kind of went out there and answered it. Do you know why Microsoft says import and export components are deprecated?
Oh, no idea.
So,
sorry.
Charlie, do you want to jump in on that one since you answered or responded?
Yeah, sure. So I said, I think that the reason why they're deprecated is because Microsoft don't want us to use those anymore. They prefer for us to share our components through component libraries. So if they don't recommend using them, then they just want to deprecate them so they don't have to maintain them in the future. That's my opinion on it.
Do you think the next step will be to deprecate import-export of solutions as well and use the pipelines?
I don't think they'll ever get rid of that.
I don't think they can they?
I really don't think they'll ever get rid of that. I think they're going to be stuck with that.
Right. Okay.
Anyway,
if you have any more questions later on, ping me. Yep.
Yeah, well, there's one more question, but yeah. So Gabriel asked if there's a performance difference between complex components and the raw controls on screen, and does that control count within the component count towards the control count on the screen, or does it only register as one?
So it depends. If you have imported the component, it will count all the controls within that component because it lives locally in your app. Now, if you are making a reference to the component library and pointing to one control, it's much quicker. But bear in mind that you only need to import or connect to the library and select the component that you need. You don't want to preload all the components in that library. So you're creating a dependency. It's like having a lot of media objects in your app unnecessarily. So same thing. Performance-wise, yes, I would prefer a component library, but be careful with that, especially with large libraries.
Thank you so much, Samir. That was fantastic. Loved it.
Great. So hello, everybody. My name is Lukas Pavelka, and I'm just working more than 2 years on DesignKit Figma plugin. And let me say, a couple of words about me. I'm 19 years in IT. I saw everything. And I just started as a Java developer. And now I'm something like secretary and coach together. And in my free time, I'm just working with some designs in Figma and just preparing some beautiful power-ups for the people. Yeah, so this is like for me, and in very private time I'm using for the making of coffee. So I'm certified barista and bartender. So if you want to make some coffee, just let me know. Okay, so this is what me, and just let me say a little bit about the DesignKit. Why it's here, what's current in this plugin, and what's the future. So as you see in the picture on the left side, the first version, which was called Power-Ups Import, and it means Power-Ups IMAX, Import Export. So I just presented some small code for the uploading JSON and YAML code to Figma and from Figma to Power-Ups. But during the time, as I mentioned, more than 2 years, I just moved forward this plugin, and I decided to start something useful, something really great for the people. Then in Q1 2024, I just already put more functionality, not only for the JSON and YAML. I just put something for the solution files, put some more related to model-driven, some importing some data, exporting back to YAML, and import remotely from the Git. But time just clocked more, and I just said, okay, let's make it more familiar with the Canvas application and make for the model-driven and a separate project. So therefore, I just said, okay, it's time to have it only for the Canvas application. So in the first quarter, which was the version 3, I only used importing and exporting with the prepared layouts for the components, which is like the classic controls, custom controls, model controls, and more like only related to the Canvas application. But the rest version, so that this is the current version, 3.5.3, where it's like more just imported for this canvas and for the theming. So it means that you can also prepare some styles. You can just use some dependencies between the screens. So this is like the last version, what currently I'm using with the more settings. And how it works. So it's very, very easy. You could have Figma, which is, if somebody does not know what does it mean, the Figma is a great tool for the UX, UI presentation of your branding, web design, mobile design. You can use some business cards. It's great for the prototyping of your designs. And Figma, as other tools, just supports making the TypeScript plugins. And this TypeScript plugin with React, you can just develop and publish to Figma community. A little bit about the numbers. As you remember, Ryan Cunningham just shared that 20 million people are using the Power platform. Then Figma, more than 4 million people are using this tool. It's really awesome. And my vision is to connect two kind of the people between the Figma and between the Power apps. So this is like the proposal and point of my plugin. So, and in the background, as I mentioned, it's TypeScript, it's React, version control and Git, and the licensing or just checking with your ID is like Azure Function. So I'm just want to use only the Microsoft stuff for that one to just present, because the point is to make beautiful applications from Figma to Power Apps and vice versa. And as I said, currently it's mainly defined in this plugin for the importing and exporting. This is like the main point of this plugin. In the version 4, it will be more sophisticated application or the tool, where I decided to change a little bit the name because I plan to also use it for the Power BI people. So therefore, the new version will be called Power Apps for Figma and will be DesignKit family. So the Power Apps for the Power BI people will be fully for free, and I'm just plan to start soon. So this is like the vision for that one. And mostly I started to use some test framework to have much more clear code and to better for the users not to have too much defects. And for the importing and exporting will be mostly the same, plus some details will be inside. But currently it's still a secret. I will see when will be presented, but I guess that in September for sure will just appear in the Figma community. And as I mentioned, this is like blurred, but the new version will include more functionality, like you will be able to style every control in your design screen in Figma. You will be able to make some prototyping. So it means that you just select two screens and put the prototype, and will be like animation between your screens. You will be able to make more documentation for your project in Figma and export it to PDF. And a lot of functions I'm planning for that one. And the bottom you can see like the new logo, which will be presented very soon. So this is currently the point of this plugin, and let me just share the demo for that one. So I will just put here, and I will just close it and start again. So normally you can have two versions, web version of the Figma and desktop version if you install it on the Mac or on the Windows system. So when you just click on the menu, what Figma has on the bottom side, then you can just start some assets, which means like the library, the same like in the Power Apps, and to run some plugin on widgets. Here we have the Power Apps DesignKit currently. If you open it, you can just see the layouts. You can put some components, import, export some settings. And if you does not know anything about the DesignKit, this is like the helper, which just saying how it works. The whole plugin is working for the prefixes. So it means when I just click on this list prefixes, you can see that like add media is the same like component for the adding picture in Power Apps. So like the button, circle, charts, combo box, and other controls has the special prefix for that one. If you use this prefix with the naming of some control in Figma, then will be automatically, when you just click on the export, it will be automatically export to YAML. So I will show the demo. But this is like the main point of this plugin. So if you have prefix, everything will be exported. If not, then it does not work. And in the new version will be more stuff for the importing and exporting more prefixes. So just every time I just want to prepare every components, every controls what Microsoft offers for the Power Apps. So therefore, in every version, I'm moving more and more parts for that one. So okay, so this thing is about the DesignKit. Then you have two options how to start to design your Power Apps. The first option is you can create the new layout. This is the same like Power Apps offering, mobile or tablet layout. You can use like pre-designed, as you know from the Power Apps, blank, calendar, email, form, list, meeting, scrollable, success, and people. So I plan to use more what you can find in Power Apps. So if you just use the calendar and just submit it, then the new screen with prepare the calendar is like there. So this is like how it works for the creating new layouts with the pre-designed some stuff, or you can use the blank layout. So if I just move it back and just create the blank for the Power Apps screen, and I can easily like start to design it. So sorry that I'm using abbreviation and key shortcuts because it's for me easy. So I'm just putting the T like the text and just creating something like hi Lukas, for example. I will just Command D, it means like duplicate, and I can duplicate the text and say like your budget is, and just put it here. This one I can just put like 40 to see it, put here like 20, And just I can use also some different font types for that one, and just put like the value, like for example 500 bucks as a mirror. Like put it here, put the bold, another color like this one, and just yeah. And as you see here, if I just started, then automatically when you create a layout, it's automatically put the prefix screen prefix. So it means that every frame in Figma, when starting with the screen prefix, it means the screen for the power-ups in Canvas. So, and here I do not have any prefixes. So if I just click here for the export at prefixes, then as you see on the left side, will be automatically pre-create the prefixes, because I'm here only using the labels. Then LBL underscore will be created the prefix automatically. So the automatic prefixes working for the labels, for the buttons, for the containers in Figma. So for example, if I just use F like frame, so I can prepare like a new frame for that one. Just say that it could be a different color. That's mirror like this one. I can again put some round corners for that, and just say that inside will be some text like last income, and just put another text which is saying like for example 10 bucks, just put like that one. And you see here it's frame without any prefix, the same here. And when I just click again at prefixes, then the container, manual container, which means in the power-ups, will be automatically created, because there are more than one control inside this frame. And everything what I'm currently doing, I can easily export to YAML. So I'm just just one information. Yesterday I just created a small change, some improvement, that it's not only the screen will be exported, but also some controls. So if I just click on the screen, export to YAML, and will be saved. And here is the YAML, where is automatically created all controls in this screen. You can also, as you know, there is existing some page which is saying YAMLchecker.com, and you can easily check if this YAML is valid for the power-ups. And I just go to UI UX application and paste it here. Yeah, okay. Maybe it will be today. Oh, fine. And I just paste it here, and you see like the whole screen. Currently, I have just issue with the size of the label, but in next version will be solved, and you will be able to see like the whole text in this for the labels, because this is the one issue which I'm finding in every version. Font size in Power Apps is totally different what is font size in Figma. So they're a little bit different, because in Figma you can zoom very close for that one, and it means that not size 10 is the same like in the Power Apps. So, but this is currently, I'm just working on that one to have much more better visualization and the Power Apps. But another way how you can import. So if I have already prepared some component. This is like Eisenhower matrix. So if I just click on this component, click on the export to the YAML, I will just open it, copy and paste it here. And you will see like the wall component here. Of course, here is used the gallery. So as you import the gallery, then automatically is created the custom gallery sample. So if you just replace it by your SharePoint Dataverse data, so then will be replaced. But the wall structure will stay as you just paste on the Power Apps. The same, I just prepared another one for the example and just open the notification and paste it here. And yeah, this is the only sometimes the same like importing the levels. It's a little bit different for the groups where the Figma is just pasting from the bottom to top, and then Power Apps, I guess it's the opposite. But if you just reorder it, then the wall component will be the same what you see in this Figma. So this is like one option, how you can just very quickly import and export. If I just do another way for the importing, I have already prepared some screen for the example, where you can see combination of the text fields, containers, some icons, images. So if I just open it and find the YAML code, which is here, and called example screen, the same here, is example screen, and just select it, then the whole screen will be imported to Figma. I have in the default, I have enabled the dependency model, which means that if you use on select and you have navigate property, then an import the multiple screens. You can import the multiple screens in this plugin. Then you will see like more dependencies. So I do not remember, but I guess the dashboard and the detail screen has the dependency. If I just open it, yeah, so no, there is no dependency, but you will see like all screens with the dependent transitions. So this is a possibility how to add some screens from the Power Apps to Figma. As I said, 100% is not the same because properties and like visualization between Figma and Power Apps is a little bit different, but I'm trying to find the most accurate process to visualize as much as possible with the same output. But in the next version, you will be able to prepare also some background properties. So it means that, for example, if you know, in Power Apps, we have like several like auto hide, you have like on select items. So you will be able in the plugin in the next version to prepare from Figma all important properties, all prototypes, everything, and just easily export multiple screens at once. So this will be in a new version, and I promise that will be a lot of time saving for the projects, because now I'm using every day for that one, and mostly I guess 40 hours per month is just saving to me. So which is a really great benefit to a faster way how to import export. And some of people just asking me, why should I use the Figma? I can directly design it in Power Apps. The reason for that, I did it the same. I started in Power Apps. I just used the editor, and my graphics really was not beautiful for that. When I just started to use the Figma, then the output of every application, it started like be more friendly, more usable for the customer. The customer likes the design. It started to be like very hungry to have like better and better design in every application. So therefore, I started to use that one. And another benefit is that the customer does not need the account for this Figma, because you can easily like copy this link for the page or copy for your presentation and just send this link to a customer, and the customer open it and just can comment everything before moving to your tenant or tenant for the customer. So it's really great because you just design everything and customer approve it, and then you can start to export to Power Apps, and you will save a lot of time for that one. So this is like demo and how DesignKit works. Yeah, and
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just forgot, if you want to have some more inspiration about the components, I will share in chat a Power Apps cooker, which I already presented. It's for free, and I will put in the chat, and you can check the different components, how to set up in Power Apps. Thank you very much.
Can I just ask a quick question? Because I don't have that understanding. So, Lucas, I believe that you created a few things, and like some of them are for free, but some of them you have like a license model of the like a monthly subscription.
Exactly.
How would you mind just quickly sharing that with us for those maybe people interested in the tool? But obviously, we need to make it clear that certain features are free and certain are paid for, and how does it look like?
Okay, yeah, so let me just very quickly just activate my license, because it will be very quick. And this one, okay, 2026. Okay, I will start sharing again and just show you what are the differences. And okay, start sharing. Yeah, so this is another version for that one, where you can just also use some icons from the Power Apps. You can see also the viewer, so it means that automatically when I select something, will be generated and copy paste from the clipboard. You can also set up sub organization, so which means that you can just set up the transition between the screens and just add like from the blank and just say it's cover, and automatically the connection between the screens will be visible. And the same for the just selecting, and you can generate the dependency model and to see dependency between screens. And you can just specify your style, where just if I just select something like that one, and I have already default style, and you can just edit which color you want to have it, so you can restyle it to your designs very quickly. In new version, you will be able to style every component and every control, and this will be for free. So this I decided styler for the backgrounds and text color will be for free, and everything for the importing will be for free. Yeah, Charles.
Thanks, Lucas. I just have a simple question, which is to do with when you create a new screen in Figma, is there a reason why it does it as a layer instead of a page?
Yeah, it's big difference because if you have for free Figma account, you can specify only 3 pages. So it means if you want to have 4 pages, you need to pro version of your account. It means a lot of costs for that one. So therefore, I decided to have, because people are asking, why should I pay for the next tool? I do not want to. So therefore, I'm trying to use as much as possible for the people to use and do not pay for the Figma because it will not be easy. Too much
That
cost.
makes sense. Is there a way to switch between the two? So if you wanted the tool to generate screens as pages because you have the pro version.
Yeah, it's not hard to just move it between the square like the pages or the frames. It's not the hard, but yeah, in the pro version, you can have multiple separated application. You do not have to be to have like 50 screen or more than 200 screen in one page. This doesn't make sense. So, but mostly when I use the free version, I mostly use like the free application, and I just created like a new file where it was only the 3 pages and like others, because I didn't want to pay for Figma.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and if I here, so this is like for the cooker too, which I created, and this was the first version where you can see a lot of, like the Samir shared accordion, gradient button. So this is manuals where you can be inspired for your application. But I put in chat.
So thank you both, Samir and Lucas. That was fantastic. Great sessions. Learned a lot from both of you guys. So anybody else have any questions or wanted to ask anything else before we go? Speak now, forever hold your peace. No? All right. Well, we are next month. Where is it? Is it gonna work? I don't know what happened. Next month's call. We're on vacation next month, or at least that's what we're telling everybody. We are going to take a quick 1 month break, and we will be back with you guys in September. But we're gonna try and get together and try and plan a little better, and hopefully, take on this next year with full force and rigor and get everybody doing UI and UX and accessibility, everybody in on it. So we'll just be gone for a month, but we'll be back in September, and we'll put out the call for speakers and notifications about who all is speaking next month. So be on the lookout on LinkedIn, and I think we're doing Blue Sky as well for our posts about the next call when that comes up. So looking forward to having you all back in September. Again, thank you for attending today, and we'll put this recording up on our YouTube within 24 hours. Give us, some feedback if you enjoyed the episode or the call today. Let us know what you liked about it. If you feel like we need to add some more, go ahead and tell us what you want, what you really, really want. So that's all, folks. That's all I got.